that. It'll come up in a sec.
Got it.
Well, hello there, Miss Sam.
Hey, Vanessa, how are you?
I'm really good, thanks. It's really nice to have you here today. I actually really miss seeing you.
I know, it's been way too long.
It has. I mean, what are we going into now? Like 12 weeks or something ridiculous.
Yeah. Round
How are
two.
you handling the whole homeschooling and new job and just the whole box and dice that you're dealing with? How are you managing?
Yeah, great question. I think like everyone, and I hate to use the cliche, but I'm on that COVID coaster. So have some really cracking days and then have some days where you're a little off. And I got some great advice from a friend who said that it's okay. You kind of just need to be really kind to yourself and just accept that you're going to have those moments that that you're down. And what are those, who are those people that can pull you out, or can you go for a walk, or what's it like? I think 2 weeks in an office before I went to work from home. So it's definitely been a unique onboarding situation. But at the same time, I've been really lucky to be surrounded by a pretty phenomenal group of people that have made it a lot easier.
That's really nice. I mean, it is really nice to have a really good support system around you and at home. I mean, we all need that now more than anything else.
Yeah, absolutely.
So tell me, how did it all start? What was your attraction to the food service industry?
Yeah. So I don't know where I got it from, but very early on, I started out as a taxation accountant, and I kind of
cool. I actually can picture you. I mean, of all the people that keep saying to me, oh, I used to be, I started becoming an accountant, but I can actually picture that with you.
Well, I think I glamorized it a little bit, and after 2 years of a cadetship in the city, I went, probably isn't for me. And really lucky for me is that I took up some temp work and found myself in multiple different offices, building and construction and doing a few different things, and landed in FMCG in Hallmark as a national account manager assistant. And I almost caught the bug from a sales perspective there and went, yep, you know what, sales is where I want to be. And then saw an opportunity to jump into food and really, I don't know, it's that kind of, it grabs you, right? So did retail for a few years.
It's like a natural drug.
Yeah, that's it. I did retail for a couple of years, and then through my maternity leave, joined the food service team at Master Foods. And from that point on, I was like, how do people not know about this? How do people not know about the food service industry? I mean, this stuff's, you don't have to, you're not working range review to range review. You're working outside the constraints, and there's so much opportunity and so many things that you can just do different. And so from that moment on, I went, yeah, this isn't a hiatus into food service. This is where I need to be.
I love that. And what I always find really interesting is that when we look at that corporate side of food service, it's such a huge part of our industry, yet we kind of, from an operational perspective, tend to get caught up in the whole hospitality and tourism and education and chefs, and we kind of forget a little bit about that supply chain piece. How do you guys keep connecting back and staying close to that operational side of food service?
Yeah, I think from a corporate perspective, like typically you will have either an R&D department or a team of chefs, depending on what type of business you're in. But alternatively to that, you'll have customers that are chefs if you're working through, dealing with some of the contract caterers or QSR or big pubs and clubs. So you do have that connection, but I was just thinking about it earlier today, Vanessa, and I actually, I think majority of the sales teams that I've been in have actually had ex-chefs as part of the sales team, which I hadn't actually thought of before. But yeah, it's
interesting, isn't it? And I feel when I have conversations with chefs, and you always hear, the question is, well, what are you going to do when you decide that you don't want to be in a kitchen anymore? And they always kind of navigate towards that sales space thinking that it's this easy life choice, but it's actually really hard. I mean, sales is really hard.
Yeah, and I think you're right. There's a lot of transferable skills that can come across, particularly for a food sales position that gives that would give them a really strong competitive advantage as a sales leader. Technical skills as well. You know, if you can talk about the products with other chefs and make that connection, it's a definite advantage. We found, thinking about it, a really great work ethic that comes from the chefs that have been in my team. So from my personal experience. So yeah, I think it's a solid opportunity, but you're right. It can be challenging, like a chef in a kitchen would have its challenges. You'll definitely find a different set of challenges in a sales environment.
How important is relationships in that sales space? Relationships to your team, relationships to your managers, relationships to your industry?
Yeah, really, really important. So you're not getting down to a transactional sale. Relationships are everything. I think some of the relationships that I built early on in my sales career, I'm still in touch with those people now. They also, you know, kind of come a part of your trusted advisor board as well. So if you do need to tap in and make sure that you're on the right track with something, you can speak to those guys. You know, people do business with people that they trust, and people that, you know, haven't let them down in the past, and that's so important. So yeah, relationship building is definitely something that that we work to continually improve on from a sales perspective.
So when we look at your career, I mean, you started out as a sales rep,
Mhm.
and you've worked your way up now to being in that senior leadership role, and becoming a real leader in that sales management, if you like, and managing teams. What's the largest team you've managed?
Yeah, so this is my largest team to date, which is brilliant. So the team nationally, I think there's approximately 140 people across the country in our team, which is brilliant. I think the great thing for me is that whilst I report into a phenomenal female leader, I also have a great team. So it makes a real difference when you're leading or working alongside a great team. Yeah.
I love that. And how do you keep your team motivated, especially at the moment where it has to be challenging?
Yeah. Yeah, as I said, like, these guys are so super experienced. There's a big difference between, you know, leading different life cycles of leaders. So I would say that I'm leading a team now that is super experienced. So for me, it's just about creating that environment, a secure sounding board for them. It's about removing barriers. It's really trusting that they know what they've got to do. So setting that kind of strategic objectives from the organization, and then getting out of their way really and letting them get it done. So no different now to when we're face to face. I think being new obviously creates some additional challenges, not having met the guys face to face once. But yeah, I think it just takes that time.
Who have been your biggest mentors through your sales career?
Yeah, that's a great question. I've been really lucky through my career to have different mentors, and I think over the last 12 months I've just completed a leadership project, and through that they talked about having a personal board. So it's not fair, or it's not super constructive to just have that one person who's your mentor. You need to kind of build that group of people that are going to, you know, who can show you support, who can energize you, who can challenge you, who can hold you accountable. So that real trusted board. And I think for me right now, if we talk about, I think those are the people over the years that have really pushed me forward. So those moments where you have that you don't necessarily believe in yourself, those people will be right behind you going, come on, you can do this, you've got this, so I've got your back. And I've had a few throughout the years, and I've been really lucky to have that, and have that now as well. So yeah.
In sales, it's actually really important to have that. Would you agree, in terms of, we all, from a sales perspective, we're talking budgets, we're talking about KPIs, we've all got measurable results that we're trying to reach. And it's important to have those people that do support you, because there's some things that you can't control.
Yeah. And likewise, I think, Vanessa, from a leadership perspective, when you're building that team, you want to surround yourself with those people that can boost you up. It would be naive of us to think that everybody's skilled in every area. So how do we, again, build our teams and build our networks, and really play on people's strengths? I'm absolutely okay with being, for want of a better term, the dumbest person in the room. To have that privilege to be able to draw on the wealth and knowledge of other people and others in your team is pretty powerful.
I actually call that humble. I don't call that being happy to be there. You're a very humble person, like, let's face it. And, leading into that, let's talk about your qualities. And I mean, I've known you now for nearly probably 12 months. We share the common interest of the AFAB, so the Australian Food Service Advocacy Body, and you really inspire me. I think that you are probably one of the most empathetic, humble, but smart person I've had the privilege to meet, to be honest.
Thanks. You're making me blush. Look, do you know what? At the end of the day, I just try to be myself, try to put myself in other people's shoes, put the trust out there with those that I work with. And over the last few years, I've just made the conscious decision to give back a lot more, because I've been really, as I said, lucky to have people give advice and guidance to me. And I've actually found that to be really, I almost feel like I get more than I give, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And it's kind of, it's nice to have that, and it's nice to be motivated by that as well. Where did that empathetic, nurturing side of you come from?
I think
were you born with it, or did you just, was your mum like that, or did you just learn it along the way?
Yeah, I think I probably had a little bit of it in me. I definitely, I've definitely had it, but over the years, from a work perspective, potentially it has grown. I guess I've looked at leaders who I respect and I admire, and have seen that quality come out in them, and have seen, what are those qualities in high performing teams, and that's definitely something that I've seen, that I've really enjoyed as an individual, and therefore I want to make sure that I can provide that back to others.
I love that. So you're big when it comes, you're a big thinker when it comes to empowering women within our industry. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think representation really matters, and I probably hadn't thought about it as much as I have recently, especially with getting involved with International Women's Day this year. It was the first time I've ever celebrated it, because I've had some really fantastic male leaders that have championed me and supported me and sponsored me throughout my career. I didn't actually really think that I didn't have, there's probably one female that I've worked for in the past who left a big imprint on me and really developed me. But outside of that, I haven't had it. So I think seeing women in leadership positions really matters. And it is still, whilst it's significantly improved, even since I started kind of a few years ago, there is still a big opportunity to get girls and women involved in our industry and to stay and keep them in here as well. So
yeah, it's really interesting, isn't it? We really do lack that female representation in our industry. It's starting to build, but on the whole, we actually don't have a lot of representation when it comes to women. And it's interesting when you talk about International Women's Day, because I absolutely hear what you're saying, and I was like you as well. I mean, I'd never celebrated it. And I went to Vietnam, and when we arrived, it was actually International Women's Day. They go nuts. Like, I mean, I'm talking every single like flower that's available is on the back of these motorbikes, and they're just everywhere. Like, it's just Flower City, right? And I thought, you know what? This is a really significant day that we kind of really need to put a little bit of a spotlight on in Australia, and really start to bring the men in that we do work with to celebrate the women that are achieving what they achieve.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, Vanessa, at the core of it, I'm still very much, you know, as part of women, it's also diversity and it's also inclusion that we need to be mindful of, as where if you're looking at teams as an example. So we need to be mindful of all those things. I'm still very much, you know what, you need to find the right person for the role, not just place someone because, you know, they're a woman, but we need to make sure that they're coming through so that there are those options. I mean, I've sat and tried to, you know, worked through recruiting and thought, you know what, I really need to balance up. I'd love to have a woman in this position. And actually just, there hasn't been anyone to even bring through the interview process as an example. And that for me is like, wow, like how is there not more women applying for the roles in our industry?
So how do we advocate for that? How do we create a voice to be able to bring more women into our industry?
Yeah, and I think, you know what, there's some really brilliant groups out there doing some great work on that. So if you look at women in convenience as an example for the petrol and convenience market, they're doing a really brilliant job of supporting women and encouraging women to come, not just come in, but also to stay in the industry. I think if you've got the opportunity to work with some of the young women coming through, then you should grab it and take it with both arms and support them. I know, you know, women in some of these group environments, and I know for myself, walking into those events alone and just looking around the room and feeling just so overwhelmed and daunted by you know, all these powerful people, I want to say, like as a entrant into that, it kind of is daunting. But I now make an effort, if I see someone standing alone, I'll grab them and pull them into the group for discussion, or grab them and introduce them. So, and I think everybody's responsible for doing that, whether you're a man or a woman, just making people feel welcome and included in the conversation.
Yeah, look, that's a really nice quality, and I have to say that is that's actually a pretty strong message, and I hope that people that may be watching this actually hear that you know, as much as we all enjoy to get together and we enjoy networking, the opportunity is to meet new people, and everyone has such an interesting story. And it doesn't take a lot to just connect with people that you don't know and include them in that conversation as well.
Yeah, I agree. And I think those that know me might think I'm a little bit of an extrovert, but I can absolutely switch between introvert and extrovert. So it takes an effort, right? It takes a real effort to put yourself out there and do it. But you know, when people come back to you and say, oh my gosh, I so appreciated that small thing, you're like, okay, cool, I've actually got to keep doing it, keep putting yourself out there to do it. And if everyone did that, I think it would make a huge difference, just that one small thing.
That's actually interesting that you use that comparison to being an introvert and an extrovert, because I find that most people that I have spoken to have actually expressed the same thing, where they're extroverted when it comes to that public space, yet as a person they're quite introverted. I'm actually that person as well. I'm okay in big crowds, but I really like my own time as well.
Yeah, I think I'm not the it's not natural for me to stand up at the front of the room and say, oh, hey, look at me, and do it that way and make introductions. But one-on-one, just working the room and having a connection and trying to find that individual connection with people is much more my style. But yeah,
well, you know, this is where we need to work together more, because I'm actually that person. I love bossing people around, so I'm quite happy to stand at the front of an audience and tell people where they need to be and what they need to do.
I love it. That's awesome.
You can stand behind me going, go V, go V.
Absolutely. I'll be your biggest supporter.
I actually have no doubt about that. So you mentioned FMCG before. Tell me what that is. I mean, some people actually don't know what FMCG stands for.
Yeah, so it's fast moving consumer goods, basically. So it does take into consideration food and beverage, but it kind of encompasses a little more than that as well. So first organisation for me was actually Hallmark. So it was greeting cards. So not quite food, but definitely enough to whet the appetite for sales, that's for sure.
That's interesting. I like, do you love cards?
Yeah, and you know what? I'm a real brand person too. It's always got to be a Hallmark card, not a John Sands.
Too. That or the handmade ones. I always think at birthdays or Christmas or whatever, I don't care like whether I get an expensive gift. I just want the beautiful card.
Yeah, absolutely. And I still to this day will write handwritten cards to people. It's just something that's stuck from those days. And likewise appreciate there was a brilliant leader at Mars, her name was Sylvia, and she would do the same. She would write handwritten cards. And to this day, I've still got them, maybe 10, 15 years later. So yeah, it's a nice one.
It's actually interesting from a marketing perspective, whether we'll actually go back to some form of that personalized touch. We get so much email traffic and so many like spamming of different info grabs and stuff that hit our inbox. People become a bit overwhelmed by it. And I'd actually like to see, us looking more at that little bit of personalized touch. Do you think that's a good idea?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And I think even if it's you can tell the difference when your inbox is being spammed by a generic note versus someone taking the time to write you a message. And so I always make sure that if someone's hit my inbox in LinkedIn, even as an example, I'll reply back, because if someone's taken the time to reach out to me, whether I'm interested in the product or service or not, I think it definitely warrants someone replying to them and taking the time.
It helps that it actually has a teleprompter there, though. It's amazing how it actually picks up on the information in the message, that you can just like choose a reply that actually you would have typed anyway.
Yeah.
Do you love LinkedIn?
I've probably stepped it up a little bit in recent times. I love learning more about others. There's a few different sites now that I've kind of liked and starting to read some of the articles. So yeah, I really do like it. And I'm actually really okay, as I said, if it's a personal message for people reaching out. I think it's a great way to get in touch with people that you may not necessarily have crossed. So
yeah, I agree. I've actually started to really enjoy LinkedIn. I feel, though, from an industry perspective, that quite a few people are a bit intimidated by LinkedIn. They second guess what they're going to write or how they're going to write it. And I don't know, I think sometimes it's easier just to write it and see what happens.
Yeah. I'm not super active from a posting perspective, unless I'm really passionate about something, but it's a great one. I mean, I love sharing if we've got positions in our team or things like that on LinkedIn, because, someone may have a connection, or someone you may know may be interested. So I think, again, it's a good one to kind of have people reach out, and that 3rd degree or 3 degrees of separation as well.
So you live on the Central Coast?
Yep.
How have you managed being a mum, living on the coast, and working, well, in Sydney or across Australia, really?
Yeah.
You have to be pretty organised.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. It's one of those funny ones, like people say, well, how do you do it? And it's just like, well, you just do, right? You just get it done. And I think the whole work-life balance is a bit of a myth for me, or it certainly has been. I think it almost is, again, like the ups and downs of different periods in your life. You will give more attention to different things. And so for me, it was probably an early lesson that I learned, where I came back to work with a 4-month-old baby and took a promotion that I felt like I should do because it was the right thing to do and the opportunity was there. And later on, really looking back and reflecting on it, it's made me change my perspective on that moving forward. Whereas, hey, it's actually okay to say no to a if it's not the right time for you in your personal life or your career. So yeah, it's gone up and down from a perspective, but I think the passion helps. If it wasn't like my third baby, it would be really hard to give it the time that it takes.
So you just mentioned that you learnt to say no. How empowering is it to be able to say no?
Yeah, I probably still don't do a great job. I still probably take on a lot that I would love to potentially back out of, but it is empowering. And if you want to do the things that you do justice, you kind of have to. There's been some things over the last 12 months or 2 years that I've said yes to, knowing I'm not sure how current Sam is going to cope with this, but future Sam is going to be really thankful that I've done this. And one of those was joining a leadership program. Now that I'm finished, I'm like, wow, it was pretty full on and hectic, but I'm really thankful that I did. So it's just being mindful of the things that you're saying yes to and the things you're saying no to. Is it going to benefit you in the long run?
So doing a leadership program, what would be your key takeouts that if someone was looking at wanting to do that type of program that you could pass on to them?
Yeah. I think, again, don't bite off more than you can chew. Because what you put into those things is what you will get out of it. I mean, you can get your certificate and kind of fly through and just do the bare minimums. I was lucky enough to be involved in a Women in Leadership program. So half of the benefit of that was the phenomenal women that I got to connect with and work with. And I would have missed that if I just did the basics of getting the actual workload done. But a lot, I think I asked someone recently, should I continue this on, and should I, there's a next level of completing the masters to do this, and should I do it? And it was like, what's the benefit? What are you going to get out of the training or the programs that you're doing? And do you need it to get to where you want to get to? And that's probably something that will give you a pretty good indication, but it's a pretty big time investment. So depending on where you're at in your personal life as well as your work career, I think is something that you need to take into consideration.
Yeah, that's really good advice. I think that we all, we all want to try different things and all the rest of it, but sometimes we've got to look at that commitment to what it is that we're looking at doing.
Yeah, you don't want it to be at the detriment of, if your day job's really important and that's helping you get to your next step, you don't want it to be detrimental to that either. Yeah, no,
100%. So what are your hobbies? What do you enjoy doing when you're not at work?
I currently have a 10 and a 12-year-old, so I would call them their hobbies my hobbies.
That's a nice age, though.
Yeah, it's good fun. It's absolutely good fun. But ferrying them around to their various sporting commitments when we can is probably a big one. And we've also just bought a property with our family, and so I've learnt to ride a motorbike and just take some time out and live, I guess, a technology-free weekend here and there when we can actually travel, and that's been really, really helpful to keep the balance as well.
That's actually, see, this is why I love talking to you, because you're so practical. Where's the land at?
It's in a little town called Merriwa in regional New South Wales, so it's a beautiful little town. That's gorgeous there. There's some beautiful produce around that area. Absolutely, yeah.
But you talked about, going technology free for a weekend.
Yeah.
How much does that help you to just like give your brain a rest?
Yeah, it's huge. I think until you actually stop, you don't realize how much you've just constantly got your phone in your hand, or your constant, you'll hear the ding, ding, ding keep coming through. So to actually stop and have a break is really, really important. And even if you can't, get away for a weekend, I think it's important to just turn it off and just be able to take that time. And people talk about what's your third space, which is that place. So I think it's important to find that as well, so that you don't burn out.
Easier said than done, though, don't you think? I mean,
Yeah,
like for some people who don't have the ability to, leave their home, I feel at the moment that it's probably more important than ever to give yourself that space from technology, because our time at the minute, in lockdown is we're at home. We can't really do a whole lot. It's kind of like, what else are you going to do except, I don't know, play video games or be on your computer and doing work? I mean, unless you've got children, of course, but giving yourself that approval or permission to be able to have that time is really important right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's going to be different for everybody. It might be reading a book. It might be, the silver lining for us is realizing how many bushwalks there are in our local area. We just wouldn't have ever had the time or taken the time to go find it. So for us, that's been a good one as well, just to shut everything down and get out in the fresh air. Someone else, it might be cooking. I mean, for me, that would be stressful and drive me insane. But I think everyone's going to be different, just to find that time to make for yourself that's outside of this constant looking at a computer screen.
Yeah, it's actually hard to turn your mind off at the moment. I feel like it's probably one of the biggest struggles that I'm actually facing at the moment, is giving myself that permission to just switch off and then not plump myself in front of the TV. Like, actually, the weather's beautiful. Like, you can see that spring's starting to come through, and it's really nice just to get out and take those first steps.
Absolutely. No, you're right.
I'm actually pretty impressed that you learned to ride a motorbike.
Yeah. I think I put that down to my husband. He wanted to get a new one, and all of a sudden it became Sam's bike. So I didn't have much choice in the matter. I don't know if I'd say ride. I'm a little shaky, but I'm giving it a good go anyway.
That's pretty cool, though. I mean, motorbikes can be a bit intimidating. I would rather motorbikes to horses, though, because they at least have brakes.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you spoke before about books. What sort of books do you like to read?
Yeah, and I think that's probably the one that goes downhill when you have children, is that you purchase a book and you can sit with it for 2 or 3 years before you actually get to it. But look, I'm a learner, so I love to learn and to continue to invest in my learning, and books are playing a little bit of a role in that. So yeah, if I just see, you mentioned LinkedIn, I'll see something on LinkedIn, or I'll see something that I find interesting, and I'll just grab and read that. But outside of that, yeah, I haven't had a chance for a good trashy romance novel for a long time.
I don't even know. Do they still write those?
I think so.
So tell me about your current role. You're working for Frucor?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Do you say Frucor Suntory, or is it you just say Frucor?
Frucor Suntory. Yep.
So tell me about this business and what it is that you guys do.
Yeah, absolutely. So we manufacture and distribute energy drinks. So our big brands that you'll find are and Rockstar. You'll also sports drinks as well. So there's a selection of sports drinks. So it's a really decent sized portfolio in the Australian market, but also in New Zealand as well. So yeah, that's.
Have you got to travel to New Zealand yet?
No, not yet.
Because I know that the bubble was open for like the shortest time, and it was around about the time that you started, and I was like, oh, I wonder if she'll get to go to New Zealand.
No, not yet. Look, I'm looking forward to meeting the New Zealand team. Haven't even managed to get across the entire Australian team yet, so I'm absolutely chomping to get out and spend some time around the country with the team. I think that's, people talk about the Frucor Suntory culture, and it's hard to kind of put it into words, but when you get here, it's just a feeling. You can feel it, and it's a pretty great place to work with, as I said before, some really great people.
Can I say that even their website just oozes that feeling of that culture, that real look after our own and watch us grow type of culture. It's really lovely. I was looking at the website and I was looking at the timeline, and the sustainability practices that you guys have, and the equal pay, the equal time off for parental leave and stuff. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, and I think the great thing for me is it's just not words on a page either. I mean, I genuinely have felt that through my onboarding experience. I personally know people, or have spoken to people, that have gone off on paternity leave, which again, in a lot of organisations, that option's just not there. But yeah, you're right. Even how the organisation has dealt with lockdowns and COVID, it's just it's not words. It's definitely a lived experience.
So how have they managed, or how have you guys managed the lockdown?
Yeah, I think the overall, it's been different across the country, but the overall experience is that it's with a people first lens. So everything that has been done has been with the people in mind, and that's not just our people, but also our customers and our partners as well. And that's been pretty impressive. So I hope that we've, if people are feeling that trust and that support, then that's kind of the ultimate goal of this process.
That's really really nice. As I said, when I was looking at the website, and I've just got it up here now, hungry to make drinks better, but there's a big emphasis on innovation as well within the company.
Yeah, absolutely. And as I said, as I haven't actually got to get out and visit the factories or get involved in all of that, I think I'm probably scraping the surface, but the work that I'm seeing that's being done is it's pretty special to be a part of, to be honest.
How important is innovation in that FMCG space?
Yeah, it's super important. I think core range of products is imperative for the organisation, but to create that excitement and constantly have that new news to keep up with the consumers' wants is important.
And how long does it take to go from the idea to the actual delivery to the customer?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think every organisation that I've been in has been slightly different. And so you're going to have your long-term strategic projects, and then your shorter-term, customer based work as well. So I've seen things turned around in I think the shortest I've seen something turned around would be around 4 months. But you could have your pipeline of innovation from anywhere to 12 to 5 years.
What's happening on the global front at the moment, do you think, when it comes to that beverage, the beverage story? What is it that the rest of the world's doing?
That's a good one, V. I don't think I'm probably the right one to be able to answer that right now. I think from a Frucor Suntory perspective, we've got an entire team that would be constantly looking at that platform. But
it's pretty interesting, isn't it? It'd be interesting to see where we go to when it comes to that beverage space, because when you look at food matching now, it's you've got your beer and you've got your wine. It'd be really cool to see like that. And it probably exists. I don't know, but to have that beverage and food match.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Yeah, you're right. I'm sure that it does exist. I think right now people are looking for other alternatives to alcohol as well. So it's nice to have a portfolio of products that that those types of consumers can call on um, as part of their
Yeah.
mix as well. Yeah.
I have to say it is a great range. It's a great website, and I love that that culture that you spoke of, because I feel like it's something that our industry really needs to champion and get behind and showcase.
Yeah.
So congratulations to you guys. You're absolutely doing that. It's fantastic to see.
Thanks.
So what else have we got for when it comes to looking for your sales team and you're starting to go through that recruitment phase, if we had chefs that were looking at wanting to change careers, and I know we touched on this earlier, but what sort of qualities could you pass on your advice to those chefs looking to perhaps go into a sales role?
Yeah, I think, as I said, I think the technical skill set can definitely be an advantage, particularly in an ingredients organisation or, you know, a real food focused organisation. From a transferable skills perspective, I think the work ethic again is something, the ability to work autonomously, that hustle, you know, like you have in a kitchen, we need that hustle from a sales perspective. Um, you're going to get lots of no's as you're going through, you know, if we're talking about, you know, a sales representative or a business development executive, you need to just have that, it's almost like that personal drive to just be able to keep going.
Yeah, which is pretty tough. Like that takes a lot of discipline to have that as a quality. And you spoke before about knowing how to manage the no's, because you do get a lot of that in sales. I mean, it's an aggressive industry, and everyone wants the sale, and you do have to hustle.
Yeah, and relationships, that's where relationships come into play in a lot of instances. Sometimes not accepting that no, or you know, making sure that you've actually really listened. So I think that's probably a really key piece when you're in front of a customer, is spending more time listening than actually speaking, and you're really seeking to understand the needs. I mean, at the same time, it's absolutely okay to walk away from a sale if it's not going to meet the customer's needs, and again, that creates that trust and builds that relationship, where actually next time it might be the right thing for them as well. So
It's interesting, isn't it? Because we talk about you know, food service and it morphing into that sales role, but also too, from a sales perspective, if you're going out to visit a prospective customer, what could we pass on as advice to those potential customers, at least giving you the time of day?
yeah, I think that's the biggest thing, to be honest, Vanessa, is just giving the time. So if you're looking at chefs in a kitchen, is give the time, provide the feedback. As I said, it might not be the right time for everything, but you might know someone else that's keen, so it might be a recommendation to somebody else. I mean, if you're in a food business, then a chef can be almost like that unofficial advocate for your product, or that, you know, the unofficial person that can say, hey, I had this really great sales pitch from, you know, whoever it might be. It wasn't right for me, but I think it actually would meet your needs. So again, just helping grow that network is helpful.
And do you put a lot of emphasis on doing not seminars so much, but more that awareness event?
What do you
Like
mean,
collaboration,
like trade shows
even.
and things, or
Hey,
trade shows, do you mean, or?
trade shows, yes. I mean, I love our trade shows. I think that our trade shows are wonderful. But even just doing like customer awareness, where you're talking about your product and creating that education piece around the benefits of using your product.
Yeah, I think so. And it's, as long as you're getting to that right audience, I think that's really important as well. So making sure that where you're targeting your energy, I mean, again, every organization is different, is going to have a different size of sales team to go out and canvas these, canvas the customers. But yeah, make sure that you know what your customer wants, and make sure that you can fit the needs of the customer, not just trying to shove your product in any hole that will fit, but really answering that need.
Yeah, 100%. So what's your favorite food?
Interestingly enough, being part of food service, I have a pretty basic repertoire, to be honest. So yeah, spaghetti bolognese would probably be my favorite, embarrassingly to say. But that doesn't stop me loving going to different restaurants and experiencing different cuisines and different menu items. I know, Vanessa, we attended a couple of places together, and I kind of went, oh, I would never have on my own organized to come to somewhere like this. But when you actually get down and you experience the setting and the people and the food, it's actually pretty cool. So I'd never say no to going anywhere and trying something different. But yeah, if I was to pick the restaurant, we would probably either be going to Italian or the pub. So
That's good though. That's good. I mean, it's just what people like, and being honest about that, I think, is fantastic, because other people will be watching this and they'll go, oh, thank God, somebody else just loves spaghetti bolognese. I mean, there's nothing better than bangers and mash and green peas. It's just, you can only do that richness for so long before you just want some basic good home cooking as well. But I mean, don't get me wrong, I could eat out every night of the week. I have no problem.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it's whatever it is, just done really well, right? Just, yeah, that's probably.
We actually have been very fortunate when we've been at our different events, and the food has been phenomenal. I mean, we had Indu did the International Women's Day, Amanda and Aaron and their team and Karen, like, they just did an incredible job. Yeah. Obviously I wasn't there, but I heard all about it and saw the photos. And then, of course, we had the Rosehill Gardens with Jerry. And Jerry. I mean, seriously, like, it was like, how many cuisines and how much amazing diversity of food could you have in one sitting?
Absolutely. No, it's been pretty lucky, to be honest, pretty lucky to be able to experience these things when I probably wouldn't have pushed myself out of the comfort zone to go there on my own accord.
Oh, I'm really glad then that you did come along, and hopefully it's the beginning of a lot more for us to be attending together.
Absolutely.
So you're going to have a dinner party, right? And you can have 10 people around the table that you choose, and it could be anybody. It could be the past, the present, and it could be people that you don't even know, and they in the future or whatever.
Yep.
Who would be those 10 people?
Whoa. That's a tricky one. Look, I think for me right now, and probably for a lot of people missing their loved ones and not being able to see them, they would probably take up half my table. So getting to catch up with friends from interstate and family would be really, really important for me.
Well, how about we just call yours the farm barbecue, and we just all go to Mary War?
Yeah,
and I'm
absolutely.
Actually inviting myself here, obviously. And we have the big hoedown at the big bonfire and everything else at Mary War, although we're coming into spring, summer, so it's probably not the best time of year to be doing bonfires, but we'll do a spit.
That's it. And then we just need to make sure that we invite some, someone for a bit of comedic entertainment, a really great band.
So what's your favorite music? What's your favorite musician?
I'm probably, if you looked at my mix right now, I am a big mix. I don't tend to just go for one. I've got a few really cringy songs on there that are stuck in my head from, the top 40. And then there's some old school. And also, after spending some time in the country, I've also got on board a few country singers as well. So listening to a bit more country music, which is which has been interesting as well. So
the beauty of country music is that you capture the story. Like you actually get engrossed in the words and listening to the story. And it's a lot of it's, you know, that whole family and love and heartbreak. And yeah, it's kind of fits the purpose at the time.
Yeah, I think that's it. And I was going to say that exactly, because it depends if I'm, you know, if I'm out dancing up a storm, once we can actually get out there, it's probably a good 80s mix. So it just depends on what's going on, I'd say. Yeah.
That's really cool. Well, I actually think I've just about chatted your ear off, and I actually don't think I have another single question that I could possibly think to ask or anything that we need to know. I think that you're amazing, and I thank you for your positivity and the way that you empower the anybody that is in your presence. I think that you're an incredible role model.
Oh, thanks, Vanessa. I think if there is anyone that happens to listen to this that would like to reach out, please do. If anyone wants to chat about anything that we've talked about today, yeah, please reach out, because I would be happy to have a chat.
Well, just remember that Sam answers all questions on LinkedIn and responds to every message. So send her an inbox.
No pressure. Thank you so much for having me, Vanessa.
It's been a pleasure. I've really enjoyed it. And I really enjoy getting to know more about people. And we don't get the time during everyday life to just take a moment to really engage with others and to learn about their story.
No, it's been awesome. Thank you.
You are so welcome. And thanks everybody who has joined us. And, you know, what are you having for dinner tonight?
Dinner? I haven't even thought about dinner.
I can't believe that you live where you live and you don't have fish and chips every night. Like that would be my biggest weakness.
No,
You've got the co-op and everything near you.
Yeah, we do.
Amazing. All right, love.
Good. Thank you so much. Thanks.
You take care.
You too. Bye.
Bye.